Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy CV with another reaction video. Well, not really. This is more of a follow-up of the first video, which was on the British outlet. I'll say this. I learned a lot from that video because when I started that video, the first thing I said was, why am I watching a video on outlets? It was actually fascinating. Something so small, something you don't think about. Certainly me, I never thought about the ingenuity that goes into it. But yeah, it's something that I don't think about, and I'm glad that I did the video because I learned a little bit. And also the people in the UK are very passionate about their wall plugs, because there was a lot of comments, a lot of it, and I've learned a lot. One of the things that I've learned was that plug is the worst nightmare for a lot of people in the UK. So much so that I went and made a shirt. I just thought it was funny how the most horrible thing in that video, or the most horrible thing about the plug, was stepping on it, which is horrible because I'm holding one of the plugs here and I was shocked to find this in the house. But I think it was actually in the bedroom, and I'm like, I just did a video on the plug. Why is this in the house? Why we would have this? And I asked my girlfriend, and it's I think she used this when she went on a trip to Holland. So I'm not sure if, I guess in Holland they use the same type of plug. On the back of it, it says Great Britain, Ireland, Africa, Hong Kong, and Singapore. And yeah, and I'm looking at this ground. It is longer than the other ones. I don't think this is that big. I think this is well done. Versus ours, if you see ours, that's what it looks like. This is for 120. It's got your 3 prongs as well. I use this plug for my heat press because I do t-shirt as well. If you need a t-shirt, just let me know. If you need anything printed, banners, stickers, I got you. Mugs, whatever you need. But even so, the issue that I have with this, right, if you could tell, it's a little bit crooked. It might be hard to tell, but I'm using this on a heat press, keyword heat. And so this wire will tend to bend like this because of the heat press. And right here, that's where you have issues. And what do you have to do? Throw this away. There's nothing I can do. But luckily, this is loose. It's not integrated into my heat press. Because if it was, that's not good. Another thing I've learned from you guys, so I'll share something that we don't have. We don't have the switches on the outlets. You guys do, which I like. And also on the plugs, troubleshooting it is pretty much only a few steps, right? Open it up, make sure it's not the fuse. If the fuse is blown, replace it. I have a box here full of fuses. I got 5 amps, 2 amps, 3 amps, 8 amps, 13 amps, 15 amps. I have it all. And the reason I have this is not because any of the appliances that we have here in America needs it. The reason I have it is because I have the heat press, like I said, because I make t-shirts. So what happened is I go on eBay and I actually buy heat presses I was buying heat presses that people are just putting for sale as a spare part, because you could still use the bed, right? So what's happening is they have a fuse in it. And I think the fuses, when the fuse blows, these people are thinking, okay, well, the machine's not working anymore, so I'm just going to sell it on eBay for spare parts. I buy them. I put the fuse in. Then it works. I get them for like $50, for use parts. Then I put the fuse in. Voila, it works. I throw it back on eBay for $125, and sometimes the same customer ends up buying it back because they're looking for something cheap and something used, and I've shipped to the same address that shipped it to me. So yeah, but that's the only time I'm really using fuses, unless it's in the panel in the kitchen where if one of the fuse blows. But obviously those are different fuses. But yeah. This, I only have this fuse just for those heat presses. But anyways, man, let's watch the video because someone said this explains everything a little bit better. And yeah, I do not want to step on this. I don't. I actually put my hand on it, man. You can see the markings. I'm like, Yeah. But if that's the only bad thing about this plug, count me in, man. Count me in. All right, let's watch this video, man. Let's see. Somebody says it explains it just a little bit better, but
I get a little bit patriotic sometimes. And sometimes that's for comedy purposes, and sometimes it's genuine. And this is genuine, because I really do believe that the British plug is one of the greatest designs that has ever hit the world. For loads of reasons.
I'm starting to agree, so.
That, most folks, at least in Britain, know, which is that it's really difficult for a kid to take, say, a screwdriver and just poke it into one of the holes. Because up here is earth, ground, for the Americans, that's a safety one. These two here are live and neutral, where the actual danger is. But they've got shutters over them. I cannot, don't try and sit home, I cannot poke a screwdriver in.
By the way, we don't have the shutters here in America. So what we have to do, especially when we had our kid, you go and buy a plastic dummy. It's the same shape, but it's just plastic, and you put it in the wall socket, and then you leave it there so the kid doesn't play around with it. So like you would buy it for all the sockets, in the house, except for the ones like that's kind of behind the TV or the couch, because the kids are not going to get there. But yeah, you have to buy the plastic ones.
Right now. What I have to do is plug the earth pin, which you can see is slightly longer, the ground pin here, in first. And when that goes in, little shutters come up and let the other pins in. So I can show that, because this extension here is...
Every time I see this, the only thing I can say is, duh. Why didn't we think of this? Like, duh. It sounds so simple and yet so good, man.
Really badly designed.
I guess it was that simple. We would do it, right? And, so we don't.
Upside down. So if you have a look at those shutters, when I put the earth pin in, there we go. And there's now a contact for the other two pins. So you need to have a really inventive baby to be able to put one in there and another in there.
You do got to have a creative baby to really get shocked by this, man. I'm not saying people don't, but then again, if you're putting in a 240 plug, you want it to be as safe as possible. And I think they've done a good job with these plugs and wall sockets, man.
And then get a shot.
Or wall outlets.
Safer. That's brilliant. What about if we leave the plug halfway out? Because American, European sockets, you leave the plug halfway out, you've got live electricity that you can kind of touch if you can get a finger in there. Well, not here. Because on the live and neutral pins on the bottom, you can see insulation extends halfway through them. If the plug is far enough in to make a connection, like that, all you can touch is the insulation.
Yeah, that's well thought out with the insulation. So that way, if you get your finger underneath there, I don't see anybody getting their fingers under there unless you're a child, but still, you're still protected, man.
Okay, so that's the obvious safety features. What about on the inside? Because you've got to remember, until 1992, the British government did not require that electrical appliances had plugs on them. If you bought a toaster or a washing machine, you would get, almost always, a bare wire at the end. And you'd expect...
Wait. I don't remember that being said on the video. Did I miss that? Did he just say not until 1992? So if you bought a toaster, it didn't come with the plug on the end of it? You had to kind of do it yourself? Wait.
You would get, almost always, a bare wire at the end. And you'd expect to wire the plug yourself. So I got taught how to wire a plug in school, because that was still a required skill back then. Here we go.
Wow. You know what that is in America? Oh, I paid all this money and I got it. Man, we're just so entitled sometimes here, man. To us, that's too much work. If I'm paying for it, it's got to be complete. And I think, but it's not, to me, it's not that big of a deal. You could probably, like he said, he was taught this in school anyways. That, like in the UK, it's probably a normal thing,
If I open this up, first there's a fuse. And that's an artifact of when the standard was made. Post-World War II, there was a copper shortage. And, it was a lot cheaper to require a fuse in every plug and just build the circuit as one loop of cable going around the whole house than it was to have loads of individual copper strands going out all over the house and a fuse for each. So they just made the house one giant circuit, put a fuse in each plug. That's now safer. Then you've got
that's crazy.
Blue is neutral. BL, L for left, blue goes to the left. Brown is live. BR, R goes to the right.
L for left and R for right. How hard can that be, huh? And of course, your ground wire is up top. Booyaka.
Live goes to the right. You can also remember that live is brown because that's the colour your trousers will go if you accidentally hit yourself with it. And
Okay, that was funny.
finally,
Okay.
there's this one, the green and yellow. That's the earth or the ground wire. Now, in normal operation, that shouldn't be used, but it's basically a return path if all else fails. If something goes electrically wrong in the plug or in the appliance, that will ground it, and all the electricity will safely go away from people. Because if that disconnects and there's a problem, well, you could touch the metal bit of this toaster, and the electricity could ground itself through you and through your heart, which is bad.
Yeah.
So instead, you have this wire here, and this is the really clever bit. This is the bit that not many people know about. You see that slack in the wire just here? In the event that there's a tug on this cable and something goes wrong, and all these start fraying and coming out, the live and the neutral, the ones where the danger is, they'll get pulled out first. And then the earth wire will come out next. So in the event of...
That is, like I said, it's so simple, but just well thought out. So if anything gets pulled, the last thing you want pulled is the ground wire. So it's longer. And then the live wires are the short ones. Like, GG on that one, UK. GG.
damage of fraying, it's most likely that the earth wire is going to be the safe one and no one's going to get killed. So there you go, the British plug, genuinely one of the best bits of design I've ever come across, with one exception, which is that if you just let it fall on the ground because, you know, you're just throwing something out the way,
Here we
it
go.
will almost certainly end up with the points pointing upwards, which means in the middle of the night, when you stand on it, it is really going to hurt.
Hey, man, this is the UK nightmare. If I ever go to the UK and I go watch my Arsenal play, I'm going to have this under my Arsenal jersey. I'm just going to walk around with this, man. But anyways, man, look, listen, I never thought I would react to a plug. Like, this is crazy. But the thought that went into it, I think is great. I don't know who invented it. I don't know the person's name. I don't know the engineer's name, whoever, but shout outs to them. Wow. Reaction video on plugs. This is insane. But this just amazing stuff, man. I do wish we had something like this, because not only that, man, if my toaster wire goes bad, you just go and buy a new toaster, which is crazy. Because if it had one of these, I can just put an amp, right? If that's what it was, right? And most likely that's probably what's gonna go bad, and then replace it back to some coffee and nice warm toasty bread. But anyways, man, if there's any cool video that you want me to react to, especially from the UK, because I don't mind learning stuff from different parts of the world, man. That's what reaction videos are for, is to not only react but to learn. You know, I thought this was great, and I actually told my son about it. I told my girlfriend about it. That's how excited I was. Like, I'm talking about plugs, bro. Plugs. But anyways, as always, keep your head up. Love you guys, man. Till next time. Peace.